Welcome, baseball family. This week we are going to talk current events, baseball, trading cards, and a little bit of fantasy update right now. 9+ Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together. Welcome back, baseball family, to another episode of the Baseball Together podcast. I'm Brig, and I got the Brad Master. He's right there. How are you, Brad?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you, Brig?
I'm good. I'm doing really well. Thank you very much.
I'm glad.
We have a lot to talk about this week, which is kind of our signature line. We should get a t-shirt that says, well, we got a lot to get into this week.
You're right.
But we do. And we're going to start on kind of a low note, and then we're going to bring us all the way out of that pit of despair. First, let's talk about Pete Rose. All right? Pete Rose was welcomed back to baseball in any shape or form over the last handful of years when he's been commentating and offering some analysis and getting he's on this goodwill tour, it seems like, and everybody seems to want to accommodate it. Well, he gets invited back to the Phillies ballpark, to Citizens Bank ballpark, right? That's what it's called. And he, to celebrate the 1980 World Series victory, and his allegations of sexual misconduct come up again. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with the story, Pete Rose was accused of some things that had to do with being naughty back in the day, and those allegations have remained unfounded. There seems to be no substantial evidence whatsoever, as far as I could find. However, that's not the point. The point now is he was brought, those questions were brought again leading up to this engagement he had to be celebratory of the 1980 World Series in Philadelphia with his team. His teammates want him there. The journalist asked him about these allegations and what's happening and how it's going, etc. And he says, that was 50 years ago, babe.
Oh,
yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Now, help your case there, sir.
Yeah, he's upset that they're bringing this back up. The context here, they were supposed to celebrate the 1980 World Series in 2017, or was it a different celebration? Doesn't matter. Pete Rose was supposed to come back to the Phillies and do a big celebratory thing in 2017, but because of this very allegation, they couldn't, in good conscience, bring him back. They had to make sure it got all fleshed out. So this accusation comes from when he was playing in Cincinnati, etc. The point is, he kind of put his foot in his mouth, and then in an effort to apologize after the fact, after it's a horrible PR move to call a woman babe on live TV these days, right? Especially under the circumstances, Pete. he and I love all the people that are like, well, that situation was 50 years ago. How come we can't talk about that? Well, but we're here to celebrate the 1980 World Series victory. It's like, come on, dude. You just can't have it both ways. Yeah. Anyway, so he offered as in recompense or whatever for his comment to sign 1,000 baseballs for this woman, which, interestingly enough, drives down the value of Pete Rose signed baseballs. Every one of them.
Yeah.
So, Brad, what is your take on all of this? Ready to go.
Well, I mean, you've got to, I get it. He's an old man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you talk to old people and they're going to say things that you don't like. It's just like, we used to talk to my grandpa sometimes and be like, wow, that was a really interesting conversation, right? But that doesn't justify it. If he's going to be speaking to the media and the public, he needs to be prepared with how to answer questions, things not to say, things to say. I'm not necessarily blaming his PR people, but at the same time, maybe they should have said, no interviews. You're old.
Yeah.
You're an old guy.
Yeah.
Don't get in front of a camera unless it's at a distance. Don't hold a microphone.
Yep.
Right?
That is a great point.
I mean, there's that, but also like you would hope that he would have learned from something over the years, you know?
Yeah.
But
or
again,
that somebody would have said something like, like, dude, it's not the 60s and 70s anymore. You can't just throw out these pet names everywhere you go to anyone in their dog, because it's just not that kind of world anymore. It's just
Right.
not. You're gonna offend somebody.
Yeah.
Whether you mean to or not, it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
Perception is
Exactly.
reality. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
your question was, how does this impact or impair or affect?
Well, and it's not even so much like this part of it. It's just like Pete Rose coming back to a celebration, being allowed onto a baseball field again for the
Right.
first time in
Thank
how
you.
long, right?
All of the time.
Like, how does yeah, like how does that affect his case for getting into the Hall of Fame? Do you think it changes anything at all? That maybe there's a softening, or is it like still like, nope, not happening?
I think it's still split right down the middle. I heard reports that there were boos when he was announced onto the field in Philly. And he both support in the post interview. He said, I'm just here to support the fans. I'm here for the franchise. I'm here for my teammates. And then he said something like, most of you weren't even born at the time this all happened. Like, what do you know? And it was pretty gruff, in my opinion. And I thought, once again, come on, Pete, because I've been advocating that he get another look,
Right.
specifically since the scandal in Houston and those players having gone unpunished. So, and I'm not saying he deserves to get in. I'm just saying let's revisit it. But it's a tough case, man. It's tough. Do I think people are softening? Yeah, I think that's significant. I think that's happening. Do I think it's enough? I don't.
Right.
And that makes me sad. But it also just is what it is.
And see, that's the thing with me is that, like, yeah, people are softening because the opinion of gambling has really softened, especially in the last 5 years, right? Like, big time throughout the entire country. But on the other hand, though, I've been reading, kind of picking up, putting it down, how baseball happened. And from the very beginning, before Major League Baseball, the National League, any of it was even a thing, there was a manager who fixed a game based on how he set up his roster, and they were like, okay, no more betting on games. We don't want this to happen anymore. And granted, it happened after that. It continued to happen. It happened in the early 1900s, right? And then finally, when it happened with the World Series, like, we can't be happening that with this. Like, we can't be having this, especially with the most attended World Series to date, right?
Yep.
Like, we can't have this. So Shoeless Joe Jackson and your buddies, you're gone forever.
Yeah.
Now we got to be serious about this. And ever since then, it's been the death sentence, right? They put it up in every single clubhouse. In spring training, they put it up in the batting cages. They put it up in the clubhouses at the big stadiums, everywhere. Everybody knows that it doesn't matter if you're betting for or against your team. Gambling on Major League Baseball is illegal, 1,000%. And that is why I feel like the punishment is warranted.
Yeah.
That, like, I would love the story of Shoeless Joe Jackson to end someday with him in the Hall of Fame. I never got to watch him play. I don't know a whole lot about him other than Field of Dreams and what I've read from, like, growing up, everything. I don't know a whole lot about Pete Rose other than what I've seen on his baseball cards, what I've watched in documentaries, and seen other things on, like, ESPN, right?
Sure.
I would love for his story to end with him getting into the Hall of Fame. But at the same time, though, if you don't have rules, what's the point?
Yeah.
And we bring up the Astros all the time. The rule was written that the people who would be punished were the manager and the general manager. No players were not written into the rule, which is a major problem I have with the whole thing. Because then the players have no incentive to not break the rule.
Yes.
Like, we don't care about this guy.
It's the same with the steroid era, though. Like, those guys are being passed over for Hall of Fame induction for more crime, less of a crime. It depends on who you talk to.
I mean, I feel like it's
really
a different crime. It's apples and oranges, because like with gambling, like, one of the things that I was reading in that book is that guys would throw games. Their teammates would be mad at them, like, hey man, I'll give you a cut. And they're like, okay, that I feel a little bit better about that, So there was
Like,
that.
I caught you. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Well, okay, here, take this. And it's fine. So like, I can understand with gambling, with guys fixing games, it affects guys' paychecks down the road, especially once guys really
Back
start
then,
getting
it
paid.
really did. Yeah.
Yeah. And then now with steroids, it's the same thing as far as that goes, though, that like you've got a guy who's good and then becomes great and really gets paid, but he affects some other guy's paycheck. And the same thing happened. We did see the same thing happen with the Astros.
Yeah.
Right. There was actually a lawsuit for a fringe pitcher who got sent down after facing the Astros because he got shelled.
Yeah.
And he was probably on the edge anyway. But the fact that they just absolutely shredded him did not help his cause at all. So,
well, and he wasn't alone. That's
right.
a class action.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think he was. Yeah. I can't remember who it was, but he was the one who started the whole thing. But I don't know. I feel like you can't. I feel like you can't compare everything directly. Right. There is correlation along the way, but there are different rules, different impact on the game, things like that. Yeah. And you've got to look at each case uniquely. So I don't know. There's nuance, right?
Tons of nuance, and that's why we love baseball, because it's full of nuance.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is as simple as it appears, except that the base paths are always 90 feet. So
you throw the ball, you hit the ball, you catch the ball.
That's where the simplicity ends. Everything else is incredibly diverse and nuanced. Okay, Let's move on. Games this weekend were, dare I say, bananas. It was a wildly unexpected turn of events everywhere, and no more than in 3 locations. And we're going to get into those 3 locations right now. Talking about sweeps this weekend, the Dodgers swept the Padres. And going into the weekend, Brad, you and I were discussing how this is major. This is a huge series to watch. We have to pay attention to who's who in the zoo, because it's going to come out in the playoffs. And did we get our answer?
I think we did, honestly. And I shouldn't jump on that so fast now that I think about it. Let's say this. We do still know that the Dodgers are the best team in baseball. Flat out.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
They had 3 games to win. They won the first 2, and they said, you know what? 2's not enough. Let's take 1 more. So they go ahead and they sweep the Padres, which is a big deal, because I feel like sweeping the Padres before Juan Soto was a big deal. Now you add that bat, that's an even bigger deal. Yeah. Apparently their pitching has suffered greatly, which is odd. But I did see a meme today that said, wow, could you believe the Padres traded for Juan Soto just so he can stand out in right field and watch balls fly over the fence?
Yeah. That is rock solid.
It was good. It was really good.
Oh man, that's awesome.
So funny.
So my favorite part of this series got a little bit of media attention, and I want to bring it up because it was really fantastic. Instead of Freddie Freeman batting, I think it was in the 8th inning, and I think it was game 3, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, at one point in the series, Freddie Freeman's supposed to come to the plate. It's like an 8-1 game. And Dave Roberts decides to pinch hit with a left-handed pitcher instead. And everybody's like, say what? So Tyler Anderson, left-handed pitcher, comes up to the plate. The reason for this, it gets explained, but I'm going to set it up a little more. Andrew Batten, Batten, Andrew Batten, who's a second baseman, was called in to pitch for the Padres, okay? And this perpetuated the entire thing. So basically, first let me tell you that Tyler Anderson, as a left-handed pitcher's lifetime batting average is .094, which is noteworthy. He did strike out in this exchange, which is just consistent as it gets. But Batten threw a super change, or an Eephus pitch, as those of us who know what that is. An Eephus pitch is just like as off speed and high arcing as it could possibly. It's the float. I haven't seen that since Skippy McGee. Yes, that's the one. For those of you who are paying attention to wonderful baseball documentaries, you'll understand the reference. All right. Batten, his changeup, we're quoting it as a changeup, clocked in at 53.6 miles per hour. And he has a slider, I think, came in at 56 miles an hour. So he's just really bringing it from the second base position. Yeah. So Dave Roberts comes out, and at the end of the game, he says that he didn't want to put any of my position players up there against a softball player, a pitcher throwing an Eephus ball. And I just said, oh, call the burn unit.
Well, now, this is the thing that I think is really funny about this is that Tyler Anderson is not a scrub. He's not some end of the bullpen reliever you're bringing in. No, Tyler Anderson is like your number 3 starter.
Yeah.
He was an all-star this year.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was one of those things where he looked down the bench and said, who wants to hit? His hand shot up first, so he got to go out there and hit. Yeah,
That's
Tyler
exactly
Anderson's
how
no
I
scrub.
imagine it.
In fact, I'm still a little hurt that the Mariners did not re-sign him last year because he was outstanding in Seattle. But good for the Dodgers. Good for him to get out there and get an AB in the all DH era. I love
this new frontier we're in.
Yes,
just awful. It's still awful. Okay, so let's move to Busch because the Cardinals just beat the heck out of the Yankees, and it was bad. Now, Brad, do we have that card that we can reference? There's the umpire strike zones are being evaluated, and I forget the author of these graphics, but there's a guy out there who's putting together balls and strike patterns, heat maps, and he shows you based on the analysis of the called balls and strikes where a team may have gained a point or lost a point or half a point, here and there, depending on how the game went. And oddly enough, in one of the games, the Yankees lost 9-12. And that day, the umpire analysis came back with just a bump over 3 runs.
Which is a lot, by the way. That is I've never seen one that high. I could not believe that was part of the reason I sent it to you because that's absurd.
It's absurd. So what the analysis shows is that the umpire took 2.5, I think it was 2.5 or so runs away from the Yankees and handed the Cardinals like 0.6 or 0.7 runs. There it is. Thank you. So for those of you who are listening and can't see the card, the overall accuracy of this umpire, Ed Hickox, whom we've discussed in the past, is 92% average. Overall consistency, 91%. They're giving him 3.01 runs in favor of St. Louis based on his impactful missed calls overall. This was Sunday's game. 86% called strike accuracy. That's
the thing that's crazy, Brig, is that's really low. I've seen him down in the 70s, low 80s this season. Umpiring has been absolutely horrendous, and I don't know what it is, and I cannot get over it. For those of you who want to follow this account, it's on Twitter. It's awesome. It's called Umpire Scorecards. They do this. They say they do it for every game. I feel like I'm missing some every day, every couple days or so, but I believe it's run by college students who do this. If it's not this one, it's another one that does the same thing. But it's really interesting if you watch a game where you feel like the umpire was absolutely horrendous, and then you go look at the scorecard, 9 times out of 10, you're right. Like they were not good. In this case, that is such an enormous swing. 3 runs in the favor of one team in a 3-run game?
In a 3-run game, yeah.
Wow.
Now, it's also, for those of you who prefer Reddit, it's on Reddit. It's on the baseball subreddit. So if you want to go look at that, it's
there you go,
subreddit/baseball. But anyway, the point is, here's what I want to say. This was atrocious. And, who knows what it did to momentum. We can argue that till we're blue in the face. The point is, because those were important moments. I mean, the bases were loaded at one point. So on and on and on. But here's what I want to say. I don't care how bad the umpiring is. I don't care how bad the balls and strike calls are. You cannot be getting swept in August and want to be the best team in the league. We're on a downward trajectory right now. The Yankees are. They're trending down. They've lost 5 in a row, and there's no reason for you to lose an entire series or get swept anyway. I mean, even if they had lost the series and picked up 1 out of 3, it would have been better, obviously, but it would have been easier to swallow than getting swept. I'm so mad, and I don't care that the Yankees were outplayed by the officiating. I don't care. It still doesn't. It's not good enough. I don't want to scapegoat. Just win ball games.
Right, and here's the thing too, Brig, is that right now going into tonight, the Yankees are, I guess, going into today, the Yankees have a 9.5 game lead over the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are no slouches. 9.5 games in the middle of August is surmountable.
It is surmountable, and if the Blue Jays continue to even midway play baseball as well as they could, then they're becoming problematic. If they play as well as they can all the time, it's an issue. If the Yankees don't start playing as well as they're supposed to,
yeah, it is a problem. And we have, the two of us have a big series this week because the Mariners and Yankees are playing 3 in Seattle starting tonight. That game actually just started just a few minutes ago.
Yeah,
so
5 minutes ago.
Yeah, very, very. We're both very nervous for this one because it's a huge litmus test. But Brig, to help you feel a little bit better, the Yankees have runners on second, third with nobody out. Top of the first.
Okay.
So there's that against Logan Gilbert, somebody who I'm sure Yankees fans will be thinking is going to sign with them in a few years.
Logan Gilbert, that's not okay. I don't have to feel so nervous. He's no slouch. But
for a while he had the best ERA in the league.
Yeah.
But anyway,
who's he facing? I forget. Who's he up against today?
Like Taylor. No, he's on Wednesday.
Jameson Taillon. Okay.
Taillon, yep. Yeah, then tomorrow you've got Cole and Castillo again. And then Wednesday is Nestor.
It's not a day game, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's a night game. Got me a little worried.
Okay. Rightly so. Do you want to put any money on this game? Do you want to put any whipped cream on the series?
Let's put a pie in the face on the series.
Okay.
How's that?
What you want? What kind of odds are we getting here?
Straight odds. Just got to win the series. No sweep. Just got to win the series.
Okay.
Best 2 out of 3.
Best 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Wow.
Dealio.
This just got really intense. All right. Baseball family, follow us on TikTok. This is probably the best place to see us when we get pies in the face. I got one the other day. I made good on our home run derby bet for whipped cream in the visage. The Mets finally won, which is great.
They didn't just win, Brig. They beat the dog out of the Braves.
Yeah, they did. They did. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 4 in a row, and they beat the snot out of the Braves, which I needed to have happen. I've been championing the Mets this whole time. I needed it to happen. This puts them at a steady 7 games ahead of Atlanta now in the East. Mm-hmm. So
they needed that
much more comfortable margin. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're wondering if the Mets figured it out. I'm telling you they have. I don't know why Vogie is so good. It's alarming that he's kind of found a place again. What's up with that, Brad?
I feel like he's a guy who, I don't want to say he needs motivation, but maybe he needs some kind of motivation. In Pittsburgh, like, what was the point, right?
Yeah.
I go out there and I hit home runs every day. What's the point besides me being a more presentable free agent this offseason? Like, what's the point in me doing this? We're not going to win anyway. Because when he was in Seattle, when he was an all-star in Seattle, he didn't even want to, you could tell he didn't even want to be at the all-star game. He was miserable, and he was having a career year. He hit 30 home runs that year. That's why he went to the all-star game. But tons of fans were like, he looked miserable there. We don't want this guy representing our team. He didn't want to be in Seattle because they were still losing. It was a terrible team. And so he goes to the Mets. Like when he was with the Brewers, even.
Yeah, it was not a good fit. It was a good player, but it wasn't a great fit.
But no, I think he needs motivation. I think he needs motivation that his contributions are going to go towards something rather than just be wasted. I think.
Do you think it has to do? So, I mean, obviously that has to do with the team he's surrounded by and the performance of the other players. But I wonder if it's. I want to give Buck Showalter the credit. I think is what I'm driving at here.
You could. I mean, Buck Showalter very well could have sat him down and been like, "We need you to win." Like he could have said something along those lines, right?
Yeah,
and like I said, really giving him motivation to succeed and to play really hard because he's running the bases hard,
bro,
harder than we've ever seen.
He comes in like a wrecking ball. It's
People have been calling him the fridge.
Yes. Yes, that's a callback to William Refrigerator Perry, who was a center and or running back for the Chicago Bears back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, people have been calling him the fridge because the dude is moving and he ain't stopping.
No, he is not.
I
love that he's there. I love that he's working out really well. That's a huge success. Let's stay in New York for a minute and talk about Jacob, his nickname, deGrom. I don't know his nickname. Does he have a nickname?
Yeah, deGrominator.
Oh, sure.
Jake. They went out on a limb with Jake.
Very classy.
My favorite, DeGoat.
DeGoat. Well, he is the GOAT right now. In his 2 starts, he's faced 36 batters and he's struck out 18 out of 36. It is fantastic.
It is fantastic.
It's fantastic.
Golly, like
he's phenomenal.
Could you imagine coming into the NLDS as a wild card team? The Mets have had a bye, right? So they've had a couple days off. You come in after a 3-game series in the wild card series, and you're your 4th pitcher, and you come in to face deGrom game 1. You're like, just give it to him.
It's just not fair.
If you could just scratch him, we'll go on to game 2. We'll be down 1 game. It's fine.
It's like an intentional walk, but for game 1.
An intentional, yeah, it is.
They just hold up 4 fingers. They're like, go away.
We don't even have to throw the
ball
on national TV. Thank you. Goodbye.
That's great. Oh my goodness!
It's scary.
He's terrifying, and because he's clocking at 102, right? His fastballs are cooking by.
Well, it's crazy. Like I think I've said this before. He's Greg Maddux with velocity because he just paints the corners. Nobody with 102 has that kind of control. Nobody. I don't care who you watch. They do not have that kind of control at 102, and it's frightening.
He took a perfecto into the 6th inning to start his second start.
Now, do you think that management was like, "Oh, thank you for getting a hit for the Braves"?
Yeah, for the Braves.
Yeah, like, well, no, for like the Mets management was like,
"Oh,
thank you."
Yeah, I think
one of the Braves got a hit.
Yeah, I think because they wanted to limit him to 80 or 82 pitches or whatever it is right now.
Yeah,
so
80, 85.
I think
probably.
You're right. But he's economical.
He is. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't think that they wanted to have to make that decision to pull him in the 7th with even a no going on.
I think you're right.
Make me the bad guy.
No, make Buck Showalter the bad guy.
He'll be.
That's coming down from that balcony seat, though.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a couple more topics, and then we're going to take a break really quick. First is Jason Heyward is done in Chicago. He's on the injured list. He's going to remain on the injured list for the remainder of the season. That's already been made very clear. And they've told him he's not going to report back to the Cubs organization in 2023. So here's the part I loved about this. Nobody was blindsided. I think even the fans saw this coming. I mean, Denise is any indication. Denise does our Northside Chicago Baseball Together podcast. Check her out. Literally phenomenal. And she's really got her finger on the pulse of this Chicago Cubs team. She saw this coming, but Heyward saw this coming. Like they sat him down, and apparently it's my understanding that they had multiple conversations and they made it very clear. They brought him in on it rather than just leveling lowering the boom. And I think that's a really classy move. I mean, what is that? That has to speak volumes to their culture and imbue everybody else with confidence.
I would think so. That I don't feel like anybody's going to get blindsided by anything going forward, right? Like Wilson Contreras was 99% sure he was leaving, right? That he was
Yeah.
going to get traded. I think they were just like, we're going to try to move you. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that once they couldn't come to an agreement on contracts, okay, we got to try to move you. That there was no mystery that he was treating his last game at Wrigley before the deadline like he was going to get traded. He wasn't going to come back to Wrigley. And then sure enough, it's like, well, we couldn't trade you because we were asking too much for you. Like, what higher compliment is there?
Yeah.
Right? That you can't move a guy because you're asking too much. If I'm a player, I'm like, well, they still think really highly of me.
Right.
You know?
That's a great perspective. Yeah.
So I think they've got a good thing going on in Chicago. The problem is they don't have the talent, and that's why they're not winning right now. And I hope that David Ross is not a casualty of that.
He will be.
I don't think it's his fault.
It's not, but he's going to be a casualty.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He is, and it's too bad. But David Ross will not go quietly into the night. If he moves away from Chicago, somebody will pick him up, and he'll have an opportunity, like Gabe Kapler, to do something great somewhere else. Like it's just going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Right. A trial basis. Yeah. Probation.
Well, no, just do something great for 1 year and then not do it great anymore, apparently.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Last thing before we take a break, the Field of Dreams game obviously has been announced. It's Thursday. We are loving this. Thursday this week, 7 p.m. Eastern. It will air on Fox. And first thing we got to let you know is that we will not be going live this Thursday night. We're going to take the week off from our live broadcast because we really want to watch the Field of Dreams game. So
yeah,
hopefully that's okay with everybody. But that's a decision we made. But we'll be right back next week.
We're happy with it, and we hope you are too.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Brig, so I'm so excited. The uniforms were released today.
They were.
I'm pumped. Let's do the Cubs. So it's the Cubs and the Reds.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's do the Cubs first because you gotta save the best for last. I'm sorry, but that's just
what?
Okay. So this is the Cubs hat. It's royal blue with the really, really old school.
Is
just
that
the bear
royal?
holding
That's like navy blue.
Sorry, that's navy blue.
Oh, okay.
I'm not colorblind. That is definitely navy blue. But it's the old school Cubs logo with the bear holding the bat. And it looks very much like a teddy bear. I've always thought that this is a logo or a hat that you would find for kids, right? Like at the kids club for the Cubs. But I do kind of dig it against that navy because it looks good. It looks really sharp. They did a good job with it.
I think if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to look it up right now, but that is their game cap from bygone days.
Right. Yeah, it is. It is. That's what they went with on these. Like same thing with the jersey is that they have that old C, right?
There
the one that in Chicago you see on the side of the Bears helmets. It's the same thing.
Right.
And also, by the way, in Cincinnati.
Correct. Which we will talk about right now.
Yeah, and it has that same bear logo there in the C, but it's navy blue instead of white against kind of a cream jersey.
Yeah, I love the cream jersey, and I love the double thin stripe on the sleeve, at the cuff of the sleeve. And the piping around the buttons and the collar is a single pipe of that navy blue, and it's super clean. I'm digging it.
I like that they go with the cream because it gives it a natural aged look.
Yep. It's that
it
old
looks like
look.
they've been on it looks like they've been on the road with a white jersey that's gotten dirty and never really got clean.
Yep. Yeah, I
think it's cool.
It's awesome. All right, let's go with the Cincinnati.
Okay, let's go with the helmet. These are so cool.
They're so cool.
So they've got pinstripes on them going out, like they flow out from the center of the helmet. But the thing that I love about them, Brig, is these helmets look like they're hand painted.
They do.
I don't know if they're necessarily individually hand painted, but they sure look like it. The print, whatever it is they have on it, is so cool. It looks because the lines are not perfectly straight. They're not perfectly uniform in width. It looks like somebody got a paintbrush and hand painted every one of these helmets, and I am here for it.
No, it's killer, man. It is so good.
I would love to see more helmets like this. It's so cool. And then
it's got a very Japanese baseball feel to it for me.
It does. It's that, yeah, you're right, because they have more designs all over the helmets with pinstripes like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then that C too. That C is very unique. It's
It
an
is.
old font that is not used necessarily anymore. And I feel like it is something that you would see in Japanese or even Korean baseball.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah, you got a great point there. I didn't think of that.
Thanks, man. I love the game cap, though. It's white. It's got the same pinstripe, the dark pinstripe. It's got the same old-timey C, the decorative C.
Oh, it looks exactly the same. It's awesome.
Yeah, but it's white. The helmets are cream. The hats are white. But the cool thing about the caps is they've got that big red braid or something going across between the visor and the crown, right where your forehead would be.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
think
so good.
So I think what they did, because the same thing is there's the same red line across the front of the helmet like that.
Oh,
and I
yeah,
think
there
that they
is.
made them. I think they tried to make them identical, because then it was like they were wearing their hats at the plate.
It's cool,
right? I think it's
yeah,
really
that's old
cool.
school. Yeah,
It's one of those attention to small details and like throwbacks to old school. That's really cool. I like it. And then they've got their white jerseys with the black pinstripes, and they've got it's almost the current Reds logo.
it is.
But I'm sure it is certainly from 1919 or wherever, whatever year they're going for.
How do you feel about the one team wearing white and the other team wearing off-white, a cream, instead of a gray?
It's fine. I don't have a problem with it, because we have color TVs.
Yes, we do.
But
I wonder how it'll appear on the field, because it will be odd at first. I'm telling you.
I think it will be, but I honestly don't have a problem with it. I think it'll be just enough. If we didn't have HD TVs, it would be an issue. Like even in color, I think it would be a problem. But with 1080p, 4K, whatever you've got on your TV, as long as it's in HD, it's not going to be a problem. You're going to be able to tell the difference between the two.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So, Brig, look down here at the bottom of this picture. I want to see. I'm curious if they're going to be wearing brown leather belts.
Oh, I hope so. That is exactly what that looks like.
Yeah, that looks like a straight up brown leather belt that I wear with my khakis periodically.
Yeah. When you
typically I'm in basketball shorts.
On your Sunday go to meetings.
Yeah, exactly. That's what that looks like to me.
Yeah. All right, baseball family, jump in the mailbag and let us know if you're excited about these uniforms, or you think they're going to be trash on the field, because it could go either way. I don't know. Just because we said we like them doesn't mean we're right. Doesn't mean you're right. We should argue about it, is what I'm saying. Anyway, jump in the mailbag at baseballtogether.com. Send us an email or leave us a voicemail. Tell us what you think. And we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into fantasy baseball and some baseball cards.
No matter which ballpark you're at, you want to rep your team. Now you can with 9+ Us. Welcome to the Big City Series. With every design available in your team's colors, you can fit in with the home crowd or stand out on the road. Either way, we have the colors you crave. Shop the Big City Series and find designs that rep your favorite baseball podcast, cheer from the cheap seats, and much more. Shop the Big City Series only at 9plusus.com.
The None Sports Podcast is the home of sports talk for everyone. Every other week, you can catch David and Jason as they talk about all things sports, from current events to classic moments and everything in between. You can find the None Sports Podcast on Anchor.fm, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, and more. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review.
Welcome back, baseball family. Before we get too much into things here, we wanted to tell you about a fun little giveaway that we're going to do. So we've been pretty active on the TikTok machine lately, ticking and talking, doing whatever it is that we do. And we have a running joke. We have a running joke going right now. And we wanted to see if anybody could catch on to that joke. So if you want to get in there and see what this is, get on TikTok, follow us at Baseball Together. It's baseball, the number 2 together, because it's too long to do it otherwise. And then get in there and see if you can figure out our running joke. If you figure it out, if you don't follow us yet, go ahead and give us a follow, and then jump into the mailbag and send us a quick message. Send us a quick email saying, this is the joke. Now send me some seeds. We will send you a free pack of seeds if you can figure this out. If you can crack the code and figure out mine and Briggs' sense of humor. So get on TikTok and figure it out. Okay, let's do our quick fantasy baseball update. So for this week, this last week was matchup 16. Very competitive across the board, I felt like. Even the games that had kind of a spread in them. I think that I still feel like a lot of those can go either way on Sunday because Sunday can make or break you just as much as Monday.
Yeah.
All right, let's start down here at the bottom of my phone. I have Grace Under Fire, who is Denise, and then Not Another Fantasy Team with Jason. Jason won this one 521 to 451. Jason was the high scorer, the only team to break 500 this week. His high score was Pete Alonso, and then right with 104, Ryan Mountcastle gave him 71. Denise had 77 from Freddie Freeman. I bet she was wishing that he did not get pulled over the weekend. That Friday night game.
I bet you're right.
I don't know how much of a difference it would have made, but maybe he would have gone yard against a second baseman. Who's to say? And they've got Rowdy Tellez, gave her 65 points. So again, that's Jason over Denise, 521 to 451. And for reference, Denise would have beat just about everybody else in the entire league if she hadn't gone up against Jason. Okay, and then we've got the Harrisburg Charlies. That's John Mullins against Torrey, the Springfield Nuclear Power. Harrisburg Charlies edged the Springfield Nuclear Power 418 to 412. John's high score was Francisco Lindor with 78, and then he had Reese Hoskins with 69. Nice. Paul Goldschmidt had 83 points for Torrey, and then he had Nathaniel Lowe with 74 was his high score. I feel like John won because he had more, like his 1, 2, 3, 4. His fifth score was Javi Baez with 42 points. I feel like that's going to make a big difference. If you can get more guys with more points, I mean, obviously, like it adds up, but it's better to have. I feel like it's better to have distribution than to be top heavy.
Yep. Yeah. Every day.
Let's go into Brigger Mortis against Big League Chupacabra. Brigger Mortis is obviously Brig, and then Big League Chupacabra, that is our friend Jewel. Brig had a rough week, had some guys on the IL. And Brig's high score was Jeff McNeil and his dowel handled
his dowel knob or whatever.
Yes, with 54 points. Jake Cronenworth had 51 points. Those are your two high scorers, Brig. You're not going to win with that. I'm surprised you got 400 points, by the way. But talk about even distribution. Yep. Holy cow, that's actually pretty decent. You would have beat me and Zip, but anyway, Joel, CJ,
you'd have beat nobody else.
CJ Crone was his high score is 76, and Jared Walsh had 66 points for him. He had a pretty good weekend. Walsh did, so you're welcome, Anaheim.
What can I say?
But anyway,
said you're welcome.
And then the final matchup. This is the lowest scoring match of the weekend. Me, the Manitoba Man Clowns, beat the Springfield Isotopes at Zip. I won 308 to 251. Wow. I would have lost to anybody else the entire week. We were the only ones who didn't break 315 this whole week. Didn't even get close to 400.
That's
Everybody
amazing.
Else scored 400. My high score is Adley Rutschman with 64. Matt Olson had 61. Zip had Martin Maldonado with 54 points. He's going to have to make a change there with Vasquez coming in. Maldonado's not going to be getting quite so much playing time anymore. And then Jesse Winker had 47 points for him. Jesse Winker hit a grand slam on Sunday, by the way.
What?
Yes, he did. Wrapped it around the right field foul pole. It was fantastic.
Wow.
It's very exciting.
I did not know that.
So there's our mostly weekly fantasy baseball update with the Baseball Together Fantasy Baseball League. Now,
love it.
This last weekend, on Saturday, was Topps National Baseball Card Day. So we were like, you know what's one of the things we love more than anything? Friggin' baseball cards. So we thought we'd talk about baseball cards. So we've done this before, but it's been a really long time. So we let's go ahead and do it again. So today
let's do it in a new way, though.
We are going to do it in a new way, and it'll be fun, and I'm very excited. We wanted to kind of break into some packs, some baseball cards that we have, because we didn't do this before, because I definitely didn't know where these were last time we did an episode of baseball cards. But so I have a fancy box from the 80s filled to the brim with baseball cards. Let me show you this. I've shown the rooters this, but I'm going to show the rest of the audience this on the YouTube. This is one that I have. Very excited about this. They're fun to have. They're very nostalgic. I did go to a card shop, Brig. Did I tell you about this? I went to a card shop to see if I could get them like rated and to find out what they're worth. And he goes, nothing. There's too many of them. I was like, you for reals? I was like, I have like 5 Barry Bonds cards. He's like, yeah, that's the problem.
Because they're not spread out.
Yeah. There's a ton of them. And then the other thing was he's like, if there's a chance it could be a PSA 10, send it in and get it rated because it costs like $100, something like that to do it. He's like, but most of them are 8 at the best. And so I had it with me, or had a picture of it on my phone with me. Yeah, I was like, what about this? I pulled up the picture. I showed it to him. Within half a second, he goes, it's off center. What? He's like, yeah, a lot of them are off center. That's why they're not worth anything. He's like, the ones that are perfectly centered, those are the ones that are worth thousands of dollars because those are the ones that are really rare. It's like, oh.
Wow.
So left a little disappointed that day, but they're still fun to have because
pretty disappointing.
Yeah, they're cool cards though. Like, it's really cool to see cards from 1985 just because it's like a time machine.
Yeah,
you know, like this one right here.
That's right.
Like Tony Gwynn, All-Star. Look at that.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, that is such an old card. So sweet. I never knew Tony Gwynn to look like that. Never in my life or his did I ever know him to look like that.
Or his. I love that caveat.
but there's so many. So this is that Barry Bonds card I was telling you about. So you can see it. So check this out, Brig. You can see it. See how one side is wider than the other on there?
Yeah, it is. It really
legit took him half a second because he knew exactly who he's looking for. He's like, that's a PSA 8 at the very best. The most you can get for that card is $25.
Yeah, but $25 is not a problem.
I'll give it to you for $25.
Exactly. What did he say?
I got 4 more. I'll give you each one of those for $25 a piece.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's not a bad deal.
So maybe I will. I don't know. I'll throw
Take
him
it back.
And see what I can do with him.
Take it back. Do. Take it back. Come on, man. Name that movie. Somebody name that movie. I'll send you a pack of sunflower seeds. Jump in there.
All right, Brig, what do you have? What do you have with baseball cards?
Okay, so a friend of mine gave me a pack of Fleer 1993. Look at this 3-pack in cellophane.
I remember seeing those at the grocery store as a kid.
For sure. This whole pack was $150 in 1990.
It's amazing.
It says, so it's the 10th anniversary edition, 45 trading cards, 3 logo stickers, collect 1990 limited edition league standouts. I said that way too more excited. Trading cards. There's one of a 6-card set inside. So I have 3 of these packs, and I figured let's open one here on the show, and then maybe we can do something fun with the other ones. Maybe we can do another giveaway. We're doing giveaways today. It's a giveaway episode. Okay, awesome. I'm opening this right now. Can you hear that? This is for those ASMR fans. We got the crinkly. All right. Here's
that's a whole other side of TikTok.
It's a whole other thing. Here we go. Steve Lake, catcher for the Phillies. Oh, here's Rafael Palmeiro. Look at that.
Nice.
Boom. Rafael Palmeiro, first base, Texas Rangers. 1990. Fleer number 308. The back is not centered, Brad. Neither is the front.
It's not?
Now I can see it.
Oh, my. So,
wow,
sometimes
that's really
I wonder
bad.
if that's really bad. Yeah.
Oh, none of these are on. There's Dale Murphy.
I was going to say, I wonder if it was like the print for those, though, that maybe they did do them off center, but probably not, right?
I don't know. I don't think they did it on purpose.
Is it consistent?
There's Bob Melvin. Look at there's a Bob Melvin card. Yeah.
Yes.
I got a Bob Melvin Orioles card. Oh, this is awesome. Let's see who else I have really quick. Jose Canseco in the A's uniform. Okay, that's freaking sweet.
Oh, speaking of managers playing, Brig, check this out.
Yeah.
Terry Francona for the Cubs.
Oh, get out. That
one actually looks like it's centered.
It does look centered. Oh, that's
Maybe I'll
sweet.
take it in and have them look at it.
Take it back. Do. Okay. I'm not gonna get. I'm messing up the lyrics, but if you're paying attention, you'll know why. Okay. Let me see who else I have here. Oh, do you know who Greg Briley is?
I've heard the name.
He's a Mariners outfielder.
That's probably why I've heard the name. Because
here's Will Clark. Will
Greg
the
Briley
Thrill
did it in
Clark.
1980. Nice. The Giants just honored him. What was
They
it, last
did.
week?
Yes,
and they
it
did
was
a
last
really
week.
cool thing in the outfield where they cut his swing into the grass. It was amazing.
It was amazing.
It looked
and
like a hologram.
Did you see the Will the Thrill video tribute they did?
I saw part of it. I got interrupted
I posted
by kids.
it on the Facebook group.
Yeah, I got interrupted by kids while I was watching it because that's what happens around here.
It was really well done. I really, really liked it. Thought they did a great job. Ooh, there's a baseball quiz. Oh, Brad, there's a baseball quiz. Get ready, Brad.
I'm ready. Let's do this.
True or false? Toronto is the most northern city in the American League in 1990.
In the American League, I'm going to say false.
Well, who would you pick then?
My geography is not fantastic. I'm going to say that right now. New York?
Nope.
Who?
Seattle.
Oh, duh. I should have known that.
I was like, come on, Brad.
I was like, oh, it's somebody in that. No, it's Seattle, duh.
Makes me so happy.
That's crazy how far north Seattle though is. Like
you're always hoodwinking me on quizzes though. So the trivia is so fun. Okay, there's 4 questions here. Do you want me to give them the rest of you?
Yeah, do all of them. Let's do it.
Oh, okay. Number 2. In what stadium did the Blue Jays play their home games before the Sky Dome?
I was hoping the answer was the Sky Dome because I don't know.
Me neither. I wouldn't have known this. Exhibition Stadium, wherever that is.
Yeah, I've never. I don't know.
Number 3. Since entering the league in 1977, against what American League opponent have the Blue Jays drawn the most fans?
Blue Jays have drawn the most fans?
Yes. So when the Blue Jays play this team at home,
they draw more fans.
They draw the more fans than any other opponent when this opponent comes to town.
I'm going to guess the Yankees.
Correct.
Yes.
Super duh. Okay. Number 4 and last, true or false, the Blue Jays have never lost a World Series game. As of 1990.
True.
Why?
They hadn't played any at that point.
Yeah! Crushed it.
The Mariners, by the way, remain as a team that has never lost a World Series game.
They do remain. So this is part of the Fleer Action Series. All of those were Toronto-themed.
I think I have that card kicking around that very card kicking around somewhere.
Well, there you have it. I'm going to see if I have another quiz card in these pack really quick.
Sweet.
I
want to tell a quick story. So I took my son Wilson to a Diamondbacks game. We were walking through the concourse one time. This is one thing I love about Chase Field is they do random stuff like this for us all the time. We always come away with our kids club prize, and then there's always something else that we manage to get to. But so we're walking down the concourse. We walked by one of the customer service booths. It was a slow day. It was a slow game. The Dodgers were in town. I'm not sure why there wasn't that many people there, but anyway, the guy's just sitting there at the customer service window and goes, "Hey, you want some baseball cards?" And Wilson looks at me. I was like, "Yeah, go grab them." So he holds them out. He goes and gets them. We got 4 cards in a pack, and it's pretty cool. Like, he ended up trading with his buddy who, we went with a buddy and his dad. And they ended up trading. So Wilson did not get Jose Martinez, Randall Grichuk, or this Nolan Arenado and Christian Yelich. Like, these did not come in his pack. They ended up trading 3 of their 4 cards all together with each other. I told him, you may not trade. You are not allowed to trade your Fernando Tatis card.
The rookie card.
Yeah, I was like, no, we're holding on to that one. And that's just my green screen down there at the bottom in the grass. There's not like a hole in the card or anything. But yeah, no, I was like, we're going to hold on to this one based on things that I've seen on Google recently. We might even put this in a sleeve and tuck it away for 20 years from now. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I was pretty excited. His buddy got a Tim Anderson card too. So I was like, you're going to hold on to that one probably because
That's awesome.
So yeah, I was like 1 out of 4. That's a pretty good return for a pack of cards that you didn't even pay for.
No doubt. So I opened the next pack and ended up with a Red Sox outfielder who on base percentage at this point was 327, slugging percentage 332, strikeout ratio 5.7. Again, he was an outfielder.
The Red Sox outfielder?
Kevin Romine. And that name might ring a bell. And I just did a quick Google searches, and I found out that this is Andrew and Austin's dad.
That's super cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really neat. I also got a league standout Donnie baseball card off center. Very cool.
Nice. Very off center.
Oh, egregiously off center. That is, it's so good. And then I did have another quiz card. You want to go after some Detroit Tigers?
Oh, this will not end well, but let's do it anyway.
Okay. Baseball family play along. All right. Number 1. What was Tiger Stadium previously known as? There are 3 names.
The Cage.
I'll take none of the real names.
I know. I don't know. That's my guess.
The Cage, because of the Tiger. Brad, you win.
Huzzah!
You win. It's not any of those. It's Bennett Park, Navin Field, and Briggs Stadium. Not Briggs with an apostrophe. Briggs.
Different.
Yeah, it's not mine. Okay, 2. Before 1989, what was the last season in which the Tigers finished under 500?
1988?
77.
Oh, that's a good stretch.
That's a good stretch. Okay, number 3.
No wonder that. Well, it just makes me think it's no wonder that Tigers fans aren't like bitter, because they've had some pretty good stretches. Right?
Oh,
they're just like,
yeah,
it ebbs and flows. We'll come back around. I feel like that's the Tiger fan attitude.
Yeah, right.
And you got Miggy.
You gotta love Miggy. Okay, true or false? The Tigers have never played a major league game to a tie.
That's got to be false. They've been around for so long. There had to have been a tie.
Correct. In fact, they hold the major league record of 5 ties, or 10 ties, 1904. Wow. But again, this is up through 1990. So, I mean, it's not going to have changed by then, but since then. Yeah, they hold the major league record of 10 ties.
Back
and
when
they said it in 1904. Yeah. Exactly. Not to be mistaken with Kennesaw Mountain Landis. Okay, number 4. True or false? The Tigers. Brad. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. True or false? The Tigers played their first night game at home in 1939.
I'm going to say false.
It is false. Against whom did they play?
Their first night game?
I'll tell you, it was away. It was not in Detroit.
My guess, I'm going to go with the Yankees again. I bet they put lights on Yankee Stadium before most places.
No. Nope. Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Athletics.
Very cool. I like that.
I'm going to open another card pack, the third of 3.
Oh, I'm going to see if I can find another neat card in my box here. I got my Barry Bonds. So check this out. I've got a whole bunch so these are organized into teams. Look at these fat stacks here. This is awesome. This is what I love.
Dude, that's a lot of cards, man.
And this is just one team. These are just guys that play for the Reds or who manage for the Reds.
Oh, would you know?
What'd you know? Pete Rose, manager for the Reds. Also, Brig, I have a Pete Rose playing for the Reds
What?
as well. That's a Pete Rose cards. I'm curious what these are worth, just because of who Pete Rose is, right? This one actually doesn't look too off center. I can tell that one of them is more off center than the other. That's fascinating. Same thing with these manager ones. Not the same off centerness.
Same off centerness.
So they have this black band around the outside, right? Can you see that?
Yeah. Yep.
So one of them is about that much more towards the center than the other one.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would be enough for it to be more highly rated. See, I just gotta take like this box down to the card shop. Those guys seem like good enough guys that they're not gonna fleece me. But who knows? Maybe they will. I don't know.
Yep.
That is one hesitancy that I have with doing stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, but that's part of the fun of the trading card system or the game, right? It's because it's a game.
It is a game. You're right. Well, then there's this too. Like, look at this. These are not the same guy, but can you tell the difference in the? There it is.
In the color.
The color. Yeah, one is much lighter than the other one.
Yeah, you're right.
I think that's really interesting too. But that's one of the things they call these the junk wax. These cards the junk wax era because they're basically just junk. Like I said, they printed so much of everything because they just wanted to get them out there just to sell them, which everybody bought them. These were my dad bought these for me when I think it was the year after I was born, something like that, just so I could have them. So
yeah,
because they just printed a ton of them. So. Got anything fun and exciting out of that pack for us? Do you have more trivia?
I do. I have two more exciting cards. One is way off center, like astonishingly.
Oh, really?
But it also features the face that I wish our listeners could see because it is an excellent picture and maybe even a little foreshadowing.
Is that Mark McGwire?
It sure is. Look at the paint on his face.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah, that's Mark McGwire.
That's so good.
But look how off center it is. It's
big time. Yeah,
big
that's
time.
Almost
anyway,
like
all right.
A pinky's width.
The last one I got is kind of interesting because this guy led the U.S. team to a silver medal at Tokyo last year, and he played catcher for the Dodgers. None other than Mike Sosa.
Nice.
Shosha. Yeah. Super cool. I like that one. Okay, ready for more trivia?
I have a Dodgers card I want to show you real quick.
Better show it to me.
So I showed you a manager. I got to find my Dodgers section real quick. There we go. So we've known this guy as Tommy, but he's on this card as Tom Lasorda.
Tom Lasorda.
I've always thought that was really interesting. Tom Lasorda.
That is interesting. Huh.
Okay. Go ahead, Brig.
What do you know about the San Francisco Giants, Brad?
A little bit. I'll be honest with you, little bit, because I grew up. My dad's a big Giants fan.
That's right. I always forget that.
His favorite player growing up was Willie Mays.
Ooh, solid
choice. Yeah.
All right, San Francisco fans, here you go. Play along. True or false, Brad? Candlestick Park is the second oldest park in the National League as of 1990.
At the time, in the National League, I would probably say true.
Correct. Yes. Nailed it. Yes. Number 2. Against which team did the Giants play a 23-inning game? May 31st, 1964. Oh, my goodness.
That's a long game.
A 23-inning game in May.
I'm just going to throw it out there and say the Philadelphia Athletics.
No. Do you want to take another stab at it, or do you want me to just tell you?
Was it the Dodgers?
No, it was the Mets.
Oh, you know what?
The Mets.
You're not going to believe me, but I was going to say the Mets, but I couldn't remember what year they came around.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been it. 64. Okay. Number 3. In what year did the Giants post 26 consecutive wins?
Oh,
Let me give you a hint.
okay.
Franchise-wide, not just San Francisco.
So when did they move from New York? Is basically the question.
It's before they moved from New York,
Oh, okay.
is the answer.
I'm going to go with 44.
1916. 26 consecutive wins in 1916. I wonder if that still holds for the franchise. I'll bet
It has
does.
to. It's got to hold up still.
I'll bet it
26
does.
is a ton. And think about how watered down the league was then, though.
Yeah.
Not granted, not a lot of competition, like
Not
as
as
far
much.
as the number of teams, but I'm sure the league was super watered down. Most of the talent had to have been in New York. That if they were to go out and barnstorm and play teams in like Kansas City whoever's or like Chicago whatever's, that they would count those too. So not to discount 26 wins in a row because that's a ton.
Yeah, a lot of things have to go right a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, last question for the Giants. True or false, the Giants have twice hit 5 home runs in 1 inning.
In 1 inning?
Yeah.
I'm going to say true. I'm going to say true.
It is true. It is true. We're talking versus Cincinnati. They did it the first time in 1939, June. And the second time it would August 1961. It's not that long ago.
Well,
5 home runs in 1 inning.
More than half a century ago.
Brad, you just pack up that bad attitude and walk away with it, okay?
I will. Speaking of packing up, maybe let's pack up. So, baseball family, we love baseball cards. If you want to send us some pictures of stuff, you can send them to us either on Twitter, Instagram. You can post it on TikTok and tag us in it. That would be fun. That'd be a whole lot of fun. Maybe do that.
That would be a lot of fun.
So choose. We would love to see the baseball cards. You have some of your favorites, so go ahead and share those with us so we can see them. And while you're on the interwebs, go ahead and jump on baseballtogether.com and jump in the mailbag. Send us an email through the mailbag with your questions, comments, concerns, and snide remarks and everything else. Brig, do you want to tell them about your other giveaway that you came up with?
Yep. So I have 2 more of these 3-pack, these 45 card 3-packs from 1990. They all feature quizzes. It looks like I've got an American League, some sort of matchup, Astros and Reds in one pack. The other pack has a couple of other matchup situations, maybe postseason trivia, and the Angels are featured. What we're going to do is if you want to jump on TikTok, give us a follow. And then either send us an email or a DM on the TikToky, on the Ticker Talker machine. What are we calling it now? That doesn't matter. Send us, follow us on TikTok, shoot us a DM, and you'll be entered to win one of these giveaways. I got two people are going to win. It's going to be awesome. Tell your friends. Also, don't forget to jump on the shop at 9plusus.com. It's NINEPLUSUS.com, 9plusus.com, where you can get the sweet Baseball Together podcast merch. We did this specifically in every team's color combination just so you can get a way to support your kid's stinking Little League game. Even if you hate the Yankees, like you can wear Yankees coloration, support the podcast that you love so much, and be there for your kid without wearing a Yankees logo. Okay, that's the reason we did it that way. Unless you're a Yankees fan like me, and then you just wear Yankees logos anyway. It's totally okay. Just get all the heat. Take all that heat. We can handle it. Yep. Anyway, that's all at 9plusus.com.
Sweet deal. And don't forget to hop on, like, subscribe, rate, and review. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything. Don't miss any episodes. Subscribe everywhere where you get your podcast. Subscribe on the YouTube machine. Everything's a machine these days, Brig. Calling everything
so
a machine.
Many machines.
But you can subscribe, and then if you don't have time to listen to the podcast all at once, we do put it in bite-sized bits on YouTube for you, make it a little bit easier to consume, so it's there for you. But baseball family, thank you so much again for joining us and celebrating National Baseball Card Day a couple days late, and we will catch you next week.